Ah, crap, you found me. Hey everybody, welcome back to Charlotte Hunting Company. Today's episode, we're going to build a 10-frame reversible bottom board. Last week we built all these boxes, so we got that down. Now we got to have something to put them on. So we need a bottom board. And I'm going to show you how to build a reversible one. What do I mean by reversible? Well, it's going to have a 3/8 of an inch gap on one side, and if you flip it over, it's going to have a 3/4 of an inch gap on that side. So what does that do? Well, in the summertime, the bees are flying like crazy. They're just coming in and out so fast, tons of bees. We like that 3/4 inch gap. It allows more bees in and out. It allows a little bit of more airflow. But in the wintertime, when the bees are dormant, they're clustered up in there. They're not moving. They're not able to protect their hive. And we can get mice that get in there. So instead of installing mouse guards, all we have to do is flip that board over and expose the 3/8 side of the bottom board, and mice can't fit their heads through a 3/8 inch gap. So it's perfect. All we have to do is flip our bottom boards come wintertime. So come with me, I'll show you how to do that. I'm a little under the weather this week, suffering from a cold, but I promised you all that I would build a hive component every week, and by golly, I'm going to stick to my word. So if you want to build a 10-frame reversible bottom board, follow me. Let's go. So let's go over the cut list real quick. First thing is all of the material for this project is going to be made from 3/4 inch stock. 1x6, 1x8, 1x10, 1x12, whatever you have handy. What we want to do is glue up a panel that's 20.5 inches long by 15.5 inches wide. I'll glue up the panel, make it a little bit oversized, and then I will cut to these final dimensions once the glue is dry. Next thing I'll do is I'll set my table saw fence to 1 7/8 inches wide, and I will take some of that 3/4 stock and I will rip myself a rail that's 16.25 inches long by 1 7/8 inches tall. This rail is going to set at the end of the bottom board and secure the two side rails. The two side rails are, again, they're 1 7/8 inches tall, so leave the rep fence set where you have it and cut yourself two pieces 20.5 inches long. Once those are cut, I'm going to take the single blade out of the saw and I'm going to put a 3/4 inch dado stack in my saw. If you don't have a 3/4 inch dado stack, you can use a smaller one or just make multiple passes with your single 1/8 inch blade or whatever you have in your saw. The end result is going to be a 3/8 inch deep dado, which is half the width of 3/4 stock. That dado is going to be setting 3/8 of an inch from the bottom and 3/4 of an inch from the top. 3/8 deep, that leaves us the 3/4 inch dado from the width of the dado stack. That allows this panel to float inside this dado on each end, and this rail will go across the ends. Well, let's get started on this panel. When you're gluing up a big panel, you want to make sure you have everything set up where you need it so you're not running around. I've got my parallel clamps all set up. I've got my end clamps set up. I've got my glue cowls that I can clamp here to help keep the panel flat. And I have my glue. We're going to start by gluing this up. And all I have to do is glue two of the sides. Put a nice amount of glue on there. And we'll let her dry. Okay, we're set up 1 7/8 inches. We're going to rip our rails. Got two rails and an end. Next thing I'll do is load the dado stack and I'll cut the grooves in. Got the dado stack in the saw now. I'm going to set it up with my setup block. So we're going to be 3/8 of an inch high. It's nice having the center line on the saw so you always know the highest point of your blade. So we got the height set. And then if you remember from the diagram earlier, we're going to have 3/4 of an inch on one side and 3/8 on the other side, leaving a 3/4 inch dadoed groove in the middle. So the best way to do that is, because we're using this 3/4 inch stock, is I'm just going to set this in here and I'll slide my fence up to it and lock her down. Now all I have to do is run my rails through. I only have to do 2 of the rails. All right, next step, we're going to cut our rails at 20.5 inches. Clean cut on one end. Flip it around, hit the stop block. There's one. And then we're going to cut our end rail at 16.25. Again, clean cut. All we got to do now is wait for that glue to dry and cut that panel to size, and then we can begin our assembly. We've got all our pieces cut. This panel's been glued up for maybe an hour. By the time I did the video and cut the pieces and goofed off a little bit, took a 40-minute nap. Glue set up enough. I think we could pull it out of clamps, probably cut it to size and get this project wrapped up with a little assembly. So now I got to take 55,000 clamps off this thing. So let's get her done. Ta-da! We're going to scrape the excess glue off this, and then we'll cut her down to size. I'm going to put this mess of clamps away first. Here's kind of what it looks like. We'll go ahead and get it assembled. I'll glue the panel in between the rails, but I'm not going to glue the back rail on. I'm only going to screw that. This allows this solid wood panel to expand and contract. If I glue this, it's going to crack eventually, and I'll show you how to do that. So first thing we'll do, we'll just glue it into the rails. Pretty simple. Put a healthy dose of glue in there. Drop your panel in. Put a dose on the top. Make sure you got your 3/4 and your 3/8 on the right side. Okay, and lay her down. Flush up the ends. Make sure our ends are still flush. And we'll countersink and screw this to that. I'm using exterior grade screws so they don't rust out. Now the thing with expansion and contraction is wood is going to move from the center outward. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put 1 screw in the dead center of this back rail into this panel. Snug that up, and then I'll go ahead and put 2 more screws in the bottom of the back rail here. So that's that. The next thing I'm going to do, just so I can pull it out of clamps, I'm going to add a couple crown staples in here. That, my friends, is all she wrote. So now I have 3/8 of an inch gap here. I can flip the board over, and I have 3/4 of an inch gap here. And everything fits nice with the bee box. Lines up perfectly. I have a nice little landing board, 3/4 inch gap. Easy peasy. Hey folks, thanks for joining me at Charlotte Honey Company. It's been a great day here in the shop building this 10-frame reversible bottom board with you. I'm glad you could join me. And if you like and subscribe, next week we're going to learn how to build the inner cover for a 10-frame hive. And then the week after that, we're going to do the telescoping covers. So in a couple more weeks, I'll have shown you how to build an entire beehive that you've built all by yourself and you've saved a pretty substantial amount of money. Again, thanks for joining me. And spring's coming. Get those hives built. All right, I'll see you next week. Thank you.